Well, Cindy's not gonna be here tonight. So, that means that Pete is staying upstairs. Then we have two alternates, so you guys are both sitting tonight.
Alright. Pete, let's see my fire. And
Alright. Okay, so it's 6:31. And it's, we call the meeting to order, 6:31. Camera's over there if anyone wants to be seen. Okay, so we're going to, Councilman Cynthia Glenn is not here, and Councilor Pete Albert is not here. So that means Tim Have and Michael Swisher will be sitting in as voting members this evening. So we have no public comment because they can't find us down here, which is great. No public hearings, no appointments, no statutory business, just new business. So it's that time of year. It's not getting paid. It doesn't get paid out. It's paid out of our budget. Is the membership for the Society for Protection of New Hampshire Forests. We gave them a donation last year, $250 for the year, and it's that time again if we're going to vote to keep our subscription. If it's got any comments or questions, I'd love to hear it.
I would like to keep it. Would you entertain a motion or you want more discussion?
We can make this as quick as you'd like.
Okay, I make a motion to spend $250 from Fund 53 for the Merrimack Conservation Commission's 2019 annual membership for the Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forests.
Second.
Okay, motion by Gina, second by Mike. I do believe that is a budgeted item out of our, for subscription, so it's not going to have to come from 53.
And it comes from the town budget.
It comes from our budget line, so. Okay, so we have any other comments, questions? All those in favor? Passes unanimous, 7-0.
Did attempt to research some of the properties that they have in Merrimack,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't seem like there's a lot that I could find anyway, but there is a piece off of Tinker Road.
Yeah, they came up during
Oh,
the,
hey,
Hey, how are you?
they came up during the pipeline, I think.
I was
Yes.
just up at
Figured
the,
you were staying upstairs.
yeah, the PFA meeting.
Yep.
Welcome.
Well, now what do we do? We gotta kick one of you guys off now.
Ah, you gotta do that.
Okay, I'm off.
Sorry, Tim.
It's all right.
We're not really voting a whole lot more.
It's okay, it doesn't matter.
They have
All right.
one property that, I do remember when we, speaking of Kinder Morgan, that they would have fought for it not to go through that particular location. It was the area that was off of Continental Boulevard,
Yes.
so.
That's,
Yeah, we own that though. Well,
No.
we own the off Continental, there's a section that we own, and then the one off Tinker, is that where you're?
That's what they are.
Yeah, that's the one they own.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of,
Yes.
They own an easement over the top of the land. They don't actually own the land.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
but they were very vocal about they're not going on our property, so. I like that.
Well, we voted to continue our subscription.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is the SCA New Hampshire Corps. You guys should all seen that in the email. Did we get a chance to read it? There's not really a whole lot to vote on. It's, I mean, they have crews and they want to do jobs. Seen that? trails, habitat improvement, things like that. So I think it's more of an FYI for us as a resource to kind of start calling on them, to see if there's things that they're really willing to do.
Is this something that we could have them do, the land on Greater Road where we originally wanted to get the grant? You know, to move the road up?
They do mostly handwork. I've
Yeah, I
I've
don't-
worked with them before, and I know
Mhm.
Davis.
Okay.
They do mostly handwork, but they might take on a project that big.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
Clearing a road,
Yeah.
wow.
because it would just be nothing more than just clearing a road. It wouldn't be, they're not gonna build a road. They're not gonna come in and equipment and build a road.
No.
No,
Yeah.
we could hire that.
Yeah, we could. But they could.
Clear.
They could get us
Really?
a ways in.
Yeah, as long as it's all marked off, I would imagine they could.
That
if they
would be,
wanted
that would be awesome.
And we could.
How much do they do? I mean, will they stump it too, or they just clear it?
They would. Yeah. I mean,
That's all.
projects that I've worked with them in the past.
Mm-hmm.
They're very good. They're thorough. The crew leaders, especially Davis, he's been doing it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They get further than you'd think that a group of college kids would get.
Are they insured as far as if they're gonna be taking
yeah.
trees down?
Yep.
Okay.
Wow. You think that would be worth thinking about pursuing?
Yeah, that's a pretty good project.
Yeah.
Right there.
And if we could get, almost there with their volunteer work, and we could easily allow them to camp in that area.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's my only concern is they kind of want to stay right there and camp. Which
I think there's
I don't have
personally.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a problem.
I don't have an issue with it at all. But we've come up against people asking us for permits to camp, and we've always been like, well, who issues a permit? Who's and how do we don't have any bylaws out there for, we just say no fires on public property, but
Yeah, I think, don't we have a no camping kind of thing? No.
No.
No?
But the camping requirement only applies to properties that are in Chapter 111. That's only 5 properties.
Yeah.
okay.
And this is the old homestead parcel.
And
Yeah,
we could just say that you have to stay on this parcel. We can make it that clear. I don't have an issue with them camping up there.
Yeah, we'd want to let the neighbors know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, what would they do for human waste? You know?
Probably dig a pit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty old school.
Yeah.
Yep. They did bring in some timbers with a horse one time for a project that they did in Bear Brook State Park. So I mean they've done some pretty
Pretty big stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's something we need to vote on, but unless you guys want to make it official, but
No.
we can certainly,
Something to,
we can get with Dawn and get the plans and what she's done already. I mean, she's got some pretty good plans already, drafted up and some, we could.
so it'd be cleared, no grading or anything? Or,
They could bench it out. They've got a lot of experience with that. Rock line certain areas, they'll build like a crib wall. Yeah, so that work. I guarantee what the final product would look like would be much more than you think they'd be able to do with a 10-man crew.
wow. It's worth it.
I know. I saw it on the agenda because I was running it away.
This one's good.
Yeah, so.
11 days, that's a lot of time to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
on
it's
my.
10 that work.
I mean, what do they, do you know what they do for food and?
They bring it out, they hike it all, and they come in with the giant backpacks with all their food. They'll bring in a.
This is gonna be an easy one, because not gonna be that far off a road. This
so
will be,
far,
Yeah.
right.
They can
Yep.
get back and forth if they need to.
And they'll bring in one of those wheelers with a water, and they'll purify if they need to any more. They do it old school.
So would they come and look at it and
Yeah, I'm sure he would.
and say whether they could do it or want
Yep.
to do it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's worth going to that point.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
That'd be a great project for them. It'd be great for us. Yeah.
I've not been present for this specific location, but I know Greater Roots pretty well. Is it is that area of the road that just sort of goes off into the
Beaver Pond.
wetland?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then reappears on the other
Yeah.
side?
Yeah, with the gates.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So you wanna
so
bring
we
it
have,
up,
right,
grab it?
yeah, so we have Dawn Tulumba, I guess that's how you say
Tulumba.
it. She's the deputy town engineer. Has gone up there and we went up with her and we walked and made a sight line of where to move the road up and generate a bypass. So she's done a lot of, it's all marked off, it's staked out off there and the center line. So we have a fairly decent plan of where to go. So we could,
Does it mostly go over the informal one that people have created to go around?
Kinda,
Yeah.
It starts on that.
it starts on that, but it continues further.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't drop back down to the road, because the other one comes down and then drops right back down to the road.
Yeah.
And it continues up.
What do you think a project like that, how long do you think it would take?
I don't know, I just don't know.
I would think in a couple of days they could knock all the trees down.
Yeah.
It's a matter of cleaning up brush.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Getting
how long it's
stuff
gonna
out of the
take,
way.
I don't know what they're gonna find for as far as rock and,
Right.
I'm assuming they go 11 days, it's just gonna keep going until they get 11 days done and be like, oh, okay, this is as far as we can get.
Yep.
I think maybe we should, if we do it, we could lay out a plan, it's like, look, at least we wanna get the timber down out of the way, don't spend 11 days getting it graded and perfect, for
Right.
15 feet. Get the whole line of sight done, so it's very clear as to where it's gonna start and stop, and then anything extra they can do would be just great.
Bring all the old slash down to the old trail that we want closed.
Do they take the wood out too, or?
No,
Okay,
no, they leave everything natural.
okay. Because I was gonna say, we met, when we were at the Winter Carnival, we met a guy who does horse-drawn logging. They'll wanna take the
Yeah.
trees down.
Yeah.
You said they're old school, but does that mean they're felling trees by hand, like with axes?
No,
Okay,
they
so they'll use chainsaws?
Yes.
And I'm sure they've got protocols in place for gassing and,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Student conservation. So
Yeah.
conservation is a big part of their.
Yeah, I didn't look, I looked at this obviously and looked at, the pictures and stuff like that. I didn't think of building a road. That's interesting, yeah. Oh, they changed the phone number apparently.
Good thought.
Yeah, I think Gina was thinking the same thing.
Well, after spending all that time with the grant on it, it was sad that we didn't get it, so to be able to swing around and find another way to get it would
So,
be great.
yeah, what would be the next step now? We contact them? or-
Yeah, just we contact them, I guess, and give them a plan as to, no, this is something we've got, something we got. We can see if we can get a little bit of a map, configuration from Don.
I almost think too, we could say we have a number of projects.
Yeah.
We'd prefer that there's one that we'd really prefer. We have a number of projects that we'd like to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Maybe just let them know that we have, there's a lot of stuff that we'd love to have them do. One of them, overwhelming
Yeah, top
you know.
priority.
lead, but there's other stuff too.
Well, and if they come out and see it during the spring when the water level is high,
Right.
then that might get them a little more excited to see what the need is.
Yeah.
It is a great need, so.
I don't think that's gonna be out from underwater for a long time.
Yeah. I was up there.
We've got a lot of rain,
Yeah.
it's wet, and it's full.
I was out there 2 weeks ago, and I was really surprised that people were still using that old trail, just going around the gates, and more so than using Tadpole, the one that goes around. Just hikers. hikers just going through that old trail.
Yeah, because they don't need a map.
Yeah. Jeez.
Is it frozen over maybe?
No.
No.
No, they're like skipping across. There was definitely people that had fallen right in too. Like you could see like where the ice was broken, and I was like, good.
Kind of like me.
I would say it's probably Mike.
Yeah, right.
Well,
If there's ice to go through, I'll go through it.
our next meeting is in this month.
March.
They're probably booking a lot of their work now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Our next meeting is the 18th. I mean, do you want to see if we can get them to come in on the 18th?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they may not even want to come to a meeting. They just want to they may just want to meet in the woods.
Okay.
Would we have to have them come to a meeting?
I don't particularly think we do. I mean, I think we could do a lot of this, electronically.
I don't know, you could authorize a couple of the members to speak on behalf of the commission and make the arrangements. You could do that tonight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think
And then as long as you report the outcome at the next meeting or the meeting thereafter,
Yeah.
you should be fine.
Should they talk to Dawn?
Well, we definitely have her. We definitely have to keep her in the loop. I mean,
Right.
but I think she'd be. She's very amenable to every time we wanted to volunteer. She's like, oh yeah, send more people. That's fine.
Yeah.
So-
But I guess my question is, should we, if they're gonna come and meet, should we see if we can find a time when Dawn is available to meet with them?
Yeah, we can. Yeah,
Okay.
we can do that. How well do you know Davis?
Couple projects.
Okay. Does anyone want to take this on as kind of be the spokesman for the conservation?
I would. Yeah. I don't mind. I've talked with those guys a number of times.
Okay.
And you have the trail expertise to coordinate with that with them too.
Who wants to be Matt's backup when he's in Hawaii?
When are you in Hawaii?
You want, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
Talk
you
about
can-
that later, okay?
I can-
Alright.
Well, you can always call me.
Okay.
Oh, do you want to do it?
I'll
I mean, obviously everyone can be involved. That's the thing. But I mean, we need to have a couple official contacts if someone needs to get hold of somebody. So we'll have two you guys do it and go from there.
Awesome.
Okay. Cool. We have obviously we had some questions right here. Like, what do they do about waste facilities? Camping. Are they going to need to build? They're going to want to have a fire. I mean, there's going to be just some basics that we need to kind of get from them and how they want to operate up there, and then we can
Yeah,
just notify.
There'll be some liability paperwork that has to be dealt with Paul.
Complete liability and workman's comp insurance for the crew.
Yeah.
So, which is great. I mean, they identify that, but I'm sure there's going to have to be someone who wanted to.
They'll have to do a waiver, or
Yeah.
they'll have to identify the town as an additional insured or something like
Yeah.
that. So,
Okay.
Or they could camp just west of Skyline Trail.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's a,
100-foot walk to work every day. No big deal.
Okay. I said Cindy's not here tonight. She's very concerned about this coyote hunting bill, the House Bill 442. She's asked if we can discuss it, but she's asked if we refrain from making any votes on it until she's here.
I'm not sure if she realizes that they're gonna be taking this up soon, so we
Is
might
it?
want.
Yeah, I didn't get a
March
chance to.
7th.
I thought it was March 7th that they were voting on
Yeah,
it.
so we.
Okay.
we may
So
wanna-
I think we need to.
All right. Well,
Has she reached out to our delegation, our representatives?
is Cindy?
Yeah.
I
Do you know?
I've not asked her that,
Okay.
but I don't know.
So I know that this latest group of representatives that have come in have been really proactive, showing up, giving legislative updates at the council meeting. So this is something they're always trying to keep their, anything that is of interest to Merrimack, and obviously this would be of interest to the Conservation Committee, and so forth, so they might wanna know, so she hasn't reached out to them.
I mean, I just have a comment on my observation. I don't know if you guys know anything different, but this seems reasonable that it's just their mating season that they want to restrict hunting, right? And I mean, just from observation, I think I've noticed fewer, I used to hear coyote calls in the Greater Woods. I don't hear that anymore. I've seen coyote before, not lately. I know sometimes they can be a nuisance, but it seems to me that their numbers are down. I don't know if you noticed the same thing. You're out there a lot.
They hear me.
Yeah.
I don't get to see coyotes.
Now, my neighbor told me that the wildlife refuge off of Back River Road, right in my backyard now, there are some coyote out there. He's kind of worried about his dog.
Mm.
So,
Oh, the snowshoe hare habitat,
yeah, right off of,
right off there by Norm's Transmission?
yes, yeah.
I used to actually hear them years ago.
I've heard them at Horse Hill,
Yeah.
thinking at night.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard them.
Close too, so they weren't too spooked by me.
Okay, well, you guys all know me as a bleeding heart liberal, which I am. However, I will say, I have no love for coyotes, although I do believe that every species deserves a break to raise their children. So as a mother, I would encourage us to sign that so that they do get that break, even though I'm really sad for the baby deer and the bunnies and the chippies that they will eat.
So you know, it's the reintroduction of the coyotes that has stopped the huge problems we're having in the national parks, right?
With what?
The erosion, the
The
river erosion.
coyotes? I thought that was wolves.
Yeah, well, the predator species, they've been reintroducing wolves, coyotes, everything.
Wolves.
Yeah,
Wolves eat coyotes.
well,
so.
yeah, but saying that predator species,
Yes.
there's been a
No,
lot
I
of
understand
reintroduction
that.
programs, and
Yeah, I
they've been
understand that.
very, very successful.
Yeah, I understand
So,
that. I'm voting.
yeah, no, I know,
to
I'm saying
restrict.
it's, you know, I know,
Yeah.
you know, they.
No, but I'm looking at it from the whole thing, and quite honestly, if you hunt for food, I understand hunting.
Yeah.
People are hunting coyotes just because,
To eradicate them,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think that everything should be allowed to raise its young. You know, I don't think that people should be shooting them when they're
Well,
in their dens.
the Stoddard Commission sent us this, and we can respond to it and basically sign our name to it as a commission by responding to this email.
Okay, do we need to vote on this?
Yes.
Okay, I will make a motion that the Merrimack Conservation Commission sign the letter, the started letter, add our names to it, to restrict coyote hunting during their childbearing season. That's the right word for
Whatever
that.
the language is on there.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Thank you,
April 1st through August 31st.
thank you.
I guess I'm new to this topic.
Mhm.
I
It's a House
hadn't been
bill.
following it.
It's a House
I've
bill.
read all this information. I don't kill coyotes, but I'm also not a wildlife biologist. I just wonder why is it in our mandate to give input to this sort of topic?
We don't.
Is it part of our charter? I mean, I guess I trust Fish and Game to do it. I wonder why it's even a House bill.
Well, because it's open season on them.
Yeah.
So this House bill is restricting the hunting
Yeah,
for a period of time. So I mean, we're a conservation commission, and we have signed a petition. I mean, it's really no different if we all
I
sign
think
it
you're asking
individually.
why isn't Fish and Game involved in
Right.
restricting?
Why is it
the
a
season?
legislative issue, not a Fish and Game issue?
It is,
It is now.
it's up in the House.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you're saying, why is it a legislative issue? Because some people disagree with Fish and Game, and this is the way they feel that they can voice their disagreement and provide enforcement, so, by making it a bill and making it a law, assuming it's signed by the governor.
I think strictly from a wildlife management perspective too, this bill could be in the interests of hunters as well, because you're protecting the young for
Yep.
them to get to a viable age and become adults, which they can then hunt.
Yep.
It's sort of like the idea you don't want to overfish, you know, because then there's no more industry for the fishermen.
Right.
again, I just wonder if Fish and Game would do a better job.
Yeah, I'm sure that.
I mean, I'm sure they consider all these.
Oh, they'll be involved with this. I mean, it's in it, did you read the bill?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a, yeah, so some proposal was made by the biologists at New Hampshire Fish and Game during the 2018 rulemaking, so I mean, they've been involved in this before, so I mean, they're gonna be involved in this.
Did they haven't given their input yet, their opinion, or
I think the legislator isn't happy with Fish and Game's opinion. That's the way I interpret it.
And I think to sort of further answer your question, is it per our charge to vote on things like this? Not exactly, but without coyotes, more ticks, more, there's just more things that we don't want. More coyotes is good for the ecosystem.
I want fewer squirrels.
Right.
No, I like squirrels.
There was some crazy last year.
And those white-footed mouse, that are like the big tick breeding, that's where the ticks lay their eggs, is in the belly of those mice, whatever. So I think having more coyotes is probably good and probably what we should do by charge.
And you obviously know a lot more about this topic than I do. I guess I just feel unqualified to tell Fish and Game they're not doing this right.
Isn't Fish and Game, though, really, aren't they really funded by the hunters?
Hunting regulation is politicized, so.
And I guess that's a worry too, a concern. Now, if we cast an opinion on this type of matter, which we could easily not cast an opinion on,
Right.
do we risk labeling ourselves as a politically energized activist conservation
No, because
commission?
we're not. We are not, and I know that for a fact. What we are is we are conservation, we are conserving nature. So we are conserving a habitat where a predator breed is allowed to raise their young in peace and not be shot down for what? For fur? So we are protecting conservation. So we're
So
not
they can-
protecting,
So they can grow into adulthood and then they can later shoot.
we're not.
For
in-
bigger furs.
Yeah, we're not in the market of
it's-
protecting
Well, listen,
hunters.
And
It's
it does,
insane.
it specifically calls out the fact that, I mean, homeowners and landowners are allowed to protect their property. So it's not like you can't deal with it, we can't deal with it if they become a problem issue. It's the same. This is simply saying during the the mating and rearing season,
I
they're
think
off
that's
limits.
reasonable.
Especially when you consider what people are likely doing is finding a den and setting a tree stand up over a den and waiting for, pups are in the den and here comes mom,
Which is kind of what they were talking about doing in Alaska, so, with the wolves and the bears. So. But I, as I said, I don't like coyotes. I don't. But I think that they should be allowed to raise their young. So for that, what is it, 3 months, 2 months? No, 5 months. Okay, so for 5 months, people can shoot them for what? What do they shoot them for? They don't need them. What are they
Just-
shooting for?
And fur is
Sport.
worth nothing.
Sport.
Sport.
Yeah.
Another thing, as a, outdoors person, I like being outdoors between April and August, and I've seen coyote hunters out in Greater Woods, right along the trail, with their rifles, and a little bit uncomfortable,
I didn't really realize it was that much of a sport.
Yeah, a lot. Greater Woods, there's quite a few coyote hunters that are in there early mornings.
Do you have to report a coyote if you kill a coyote?
No.
Is it like a deer, you don't have to register?
No, you don't have, there's no tag, there's nothing. Just,
I don't even know what they do with them. What do they do with them after they shoot them? I mean, I know, what is it? Canadian Goose uses it for the hood, but they trap them first.
Well, if you trap them, you have to report those numbers.
yeah. But when you
I
shoot
wonder
'em-
what that number is.
I don't know, what
You've seen people, I've never seen a coyote hunter.
do people do
Yeah,
with
I've
them?
seen one. I would like to know, like, realistically, how many there are that you're dealing with in a local community. I don't think you can really get that number.
Maybe when Jeff goes out, does he get a sense of that? Jeff Littleton?
Well, we could talk to him this weekend, just to
I'm
pick his
curious-
brain.
I'm just curious if he gets a sense of that.
Yeah, I know, hunting, deer hunters and stuff, you see them out there, they have the hunter orange and stuff like that. This is completely different. These guys are laying down, sometimes they have those ghillie suits on. You can't see them. And then they pop up out of the woods with a rifle and you're like, whoa, hey, they're just, it's different. It's a different kind of hunting because they really have to disguise themselves because coyotes are pretty intelligent.
Wily.
Yeah. There you go. But having that not in the woods between April and August, as somebody that enjoys
Yeah,
being out in the woods
I'm
and
not-
not being shot,
Okay.
I guess I fall back to the question of, is it the commission's place to chime in on this, on the state level?
Well, the Stoddard one seemed to think it was.
Did the state ask Stoddard for their opinion though, or they?
Oh, I don't believe so. I think this is,
It's a statewide thing, but we're just kind of giving our input
Yeah.
on our community.
yeah,
You
this
know,
is,
and
this
if we
is
get-
just public
We're
input.
just being proactive.
Yeah.
So while I'm not a voter tonight, I think this is more preservation than conservation. This is trying to preserve a species, not conserve. That's just my opinion, and I agree, I think it's a risky road to go taking a stance against legislation. I think when we were appointed by the town council, we were appointed to manage the natural resources and provide input based on what's in our charter, and the charter doesn't speak to taking a political position.
That's the kind of the hurdle I'm stuck on right now, is that same thing.
Is it really
But-
political though? I mean,
You're part of the political system by
It's a
reaching
House
out to legislators. I have no problem with people doing it on their own,
I mean,
Yeah.
but I think as a body, I think you run a risky slope. And, I mean, it could be grounds for not being reappointed if the council didn't agree with you.
the state the state group that oversees all the conservation commissions, I forget their name.
New Hampshire Association.
They-
Yeah.
They don't oversee them.
Yeah.
No, I know, but
There's no oversight.
they're constantly posting bills and trying to generate interest of the.
Interest in them, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
saying, hey, this is going on, and, maybe you should, speak up on this, and, so you can't be totally isolated politically, even, as a conservation commission, I don't think.
I guess I go back to, the council chimes in on things, like House bills and so forth, when it affects our community directly, like the PFAs and so forth, and any changes in state laws that are gonna affect taxes directly here, property taxes and so forth. We have, as a council, sent a letter, does this, as a conservation committee, affect our community directly?
Yes.
And I guess
People
my question would be
Hunting
how so?
coyotes in Greater Woods and Horse Hill
Mhm.
between those months, yes, it definitely directly affects us.
I agree. I mean, I think that it can be preservation, but I think that it can also be conservation, because when you stop and think about it, yeah, I mean, excuse my stomach. These coyotes are going to be, kind of feed their young, and again, I mean, I just as soon get rid of the coyotes altogether and keep the bunnies and the squirrels, but, I think that this is the circle of life, and to have people just out there in their ghillie suits shooting coyotes just for the fun of it is, you can't do that with anything else. What else can you do it with? Is there any other animal that you can just do that with? There is? What?
Woodchucks?
Squirrels.
No,
You
there's
There are seasons.
there's seasons on gray squirrels now.
Okay. But while the season's going on, you can shoot them all anytime you want, right?
Yeah.
But there's seasons. There's no
Okay.
season for coyotes, that's the thing, is this would
It's
be
a
a
predator
season.
species too, I think, which deserves a little bit different consideration.
The
Yeah,
coyotes?
coyote, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, are we seeing a problem? You know, I guess they started hunting them aggressively in places because farm animals were being killed and overrun. It's kind of like the wild boar out in the Midwest and stuff that are destroying farms. They hunt them aggressively at night. And I mean, can we look back and say we think this is an issue, or we think, you know, I guess I haven't seen a coyote in a long time in town. So, you know, and again, it makes sense what I'm hearing about the change in the law to preserve them, but, I mean, and I have no problem supporting that personally, but I don't think I want to support it
Yeah,
as
that's-
a conservation committee.
Kind of my thoughts was, to me, this is a very personal item. And I'm not sure, because I mean, if we vote on it as a group, that's fine, but boy, just think of who's gonna be here next year and think differently. They wouldn't have voted for that. And we are ultimately, you know, we're appointed by town council, but we are representing the town to some extent. And, you know, my feeling on this is like, I'd be very happy to sign this personally, but I don't know if I want to sign it as a commission.
There are bound to be residents
Yeah.
who appreciate coyote hunting, and so there's no opportunity for them to weigh in, and we're just unilaterally sign them up on that. That might tick off some people.
This was on the agenda.
Well, it's not yeah, yes, it was. But I mean, there's also people that don't feel we should be creating, you know, vast tracts of land in town either. They'd rather see it developed. So you know, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, I don't want to say we're speaking for them, but I'm just, you know, we are speaking for the town to some extent. And I would, you know, this is a politically charged item. Whether it's you want to say it is or not, it's going to be a charged item, like everything that goes up in front of the house. And now, because Fish and Game's involved, I mean, Fish and Game's really kind of taken it on the chin last couple of years. They've had a lot of bad press.
Bobcat thing.
Yeah, and I mean, personally, I'd be more comfortable signing this personally. I don't know if I want to do it as a commission.
And it wasn't even brought to us by a member of the community. It was
You know,
brought to us by another conservation commission.
Yeah.
It's not like there was a groundswell of people that wanted us to be involved. Merrimack residents wanted
Yeah.
us to be involved in this.
there's probably, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times this group, there's probably about the amount of people in Merrimack that know what's going on. You know?
Is there a motion on, I haven't heard a motion being
Yeah,
made.
there's a motion on the table.
Okay.
We're discussing it now.
All right, hold on. But, turn my hearing aids up. But, you know, is this something we might want to table?
Well, it doesn't make, I mean, to table it, they're gonna
March
vote on
7th,
it.
the vote's on March
They're gonna
7th,
vote
so
on it March 7th.
Okay.
If we table it, we're doing the same thing as saying, okay, we're not signing it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm outvoted here, so we're not gonna sign
We haven't voted
it.
yet.
So you don't know.
I know, I already know from hearing the comments.
So there's a motion on the table and it was seconded.
Yeah, so I think we're discussing the article, so,
Call the question if you want to vote.
yeah, I mean, is there any more comments and questions? Everyone feel like they've made their own decision? All right, so voting is, we have a motion to vote on this, is to sign it. How many would like to say yay? 3 for yes. And how many say no? 4.
Told ya.
It's not too often that happens.
I know.
No, I think that's the first time that we've ever, not been quite unanimous. All right, so,
Cindy will be very disappointed.
She will be very disappointed because if she was here.
Yeah, if she was here, then
Been on 4-3.
you're right.
the,
See what happens when you're sick,
So-
Cindy?
just a quick trip down memory lane now. Just remember, we've done this a couple times, and we've pretty much every time voted not to involve ourselves politically on,
Did we do this with Bobcats?
we did,
Okay, I don't remember that.
Because there was a large petition going around, all the conservation commission, or not all of them, but a lot of the conservation commissions were getting in charge, signing the petition, and we opted not to involve ourselves politically.
Okay,
So-
well, I personally will be sending a letter.
Yeah, absolutely, I mean, and you guys, everyone's got this link, right? Everyone's got the thing, so, I mean, yes, I would go in and sign it personally. There's that petition, I'm sure has personal names on it versus just conservation commission, so.
Okay.
I'm not sure Matt's opinion, like, I wish the hunters weren't in there while I was out there recreating,
Yeah.
but I just don't think the size part has its place here necessarily. I would go for it myself.
Then
All right.
You can write the stickers.
Gene out there.
Old business, game cameras. Were you able to look at them?
I did.
You did?
So I got in touch with the officer that bought the game cameras,
Okay.
and they don't make that model anymore.
Yeah, but they make
They
the
make
next
it
mo-
equivalent.
They make the next model,
Yes,
so.
and it's actually not that expensive at all.
Okay.
However, you need what is expensive is the SD card that goes in it, relatively speaking. So the cameras.
What's so special about it?
No, it's just an SD card, but you want one that has some size to it. So the game camera's $169, and an SD card is like $40. So relatively
40?
speaking, yeah,
Okay, you said it's expensive.
in my opinion, for a little piece of plastic, that's pretty expensive.
But you're gonna throw it in the pond anyways?
Yeah.
Definitely have good ones.
But we were talking about buying two
Yeah.
cameras, so we need two cards as well.
Would you do 2 or 4?
4 cards, so you could swap.
Swap them?
Sure.
How you got, either that or you're taking your computer out in the field to
Yeah.
download them.
I don't have a computer, so.
Right, so what's that?
Get your
100?
calculator.
No, that's 120 and then 170. So 2, 3, 40. So you're talking $500.
Should we have some specific rules set out as to the use of the cameras and how they can be set up and so forth?
Yeah, probably we should have some kind of some standards for it.
We should also
But
work with Chuck, maybe, to have a place.
Miller?
Yeah.
Okay.
To maybe have a laptop or a computer
To
here
download everything.
where we
with.
could download everything.
That's not personal.
It's not personal.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Can you fill me in real quick on the purpose of the game camera? Is it to catch pictures of game?
No.
Yes, that's one of the many uses for it.
Sure.
But so, for example, recently we worked with the Merrimack Police on the Scalar property. If you've been down there, you go under the railroad trestle to get there, and there were people going down there with Jeeps and going where they weren't supposed to go. So the Merrimack Police put up a game camera, and it easily caught the offenders that were in there weekly, and problem solved by reaching out to those people, or the police reaching out to those people to inform them that what they were doing was not authorized. So-
We've done the same thing kind of on some of the properties too, where there's been problems. Just to,
So will you notify the police and then they in turn notify offenders? I see.
Yeah, but for a long time it was our personal members of the subcommittees and Conservation Commission, it was our personal game cameras that we were using. So it was a little bit different because bringing your memory card, personal memory card in to the police station and being like,
here's evidence.
here's evidence, and they're like, well, we can't take that, we didn't do the investigation, we don't know what we're looking at, we don't know who that camera was. Now we can say, hey, this is a town
I see.
that was, here's a picture of where it was, here it is on the map, it was right here. you know, it's a little bit of a different story when it's the Conservation Commission's camera.
Are there
Is
any
it-
requirements to post, like, smile you're on camera? Like, let someone know they're being videotaped? I know there are some laws that have to do with
No,
Yeah,
that.
we're not
if you
recording
pay,
audio.
if you pay to be somewhere,
You pay.
you are not allowed to be recorded without being, you know, told that you're being recorded. If you're on public property that you're not paying to be on, there's no, as long as there's not a microphone on that camera and you're not quote unquote wiretapping,
I think too, if you can identify an issue as to why we're putting the game camera out there.
yes.
You know, whether it's vandalism, whether it's vehicles driving on the, you know, on the property that they shouldn't. I think you shouldn't be, have a problem there. And I think you gotta spell that out. But also I'm wondering about the right to know law. And does, you know, at some point, does somebody have the right to come in and say, I wanna know what you guys are recording? You know, and can they do that? So, it's an interesting, I just,
And don't forget, we have also used it for game.
Mm.
You know, we've set it up, you know, we've set them up over the dams, we've set them up over just in the, over the deer yard, just
Yep.
to get pictures, so I mean, that's,
and that's great PR.
Yeah.
Are these
Yeah.
that you're purchasing going in supply?
I think they'll go in all of our properties. You know,
That's-
wherever we're having,
Yeah.
you know, we had an issue, initially we put up some gates. We had an issue with people taking the gates, trying to take the gates apart. It was nice to have a game camera there and say, hey, you know, officer so-and-so, here's the picture of the guy that was taking the gate apart.
It's nice you can move the cameras around to wherever you want.
Yeah, it seems like the principal reason though is vandals and such. You know, keep tabs on that sort of stuff. Okay.
If we're having a problem, definitely that's the primary reason. But
So,
there's also a couple of great places that we can put game cameras and get some great shots. I know, like, Facebook page for the Brookline Conservation Commission. They have a camera. The Brookline Conservation Commission has a camera, and they also have a bunch of moose that they get on camera all the time, and they post it on their Conservation Commission page, and it's great. People love it.
yeah. Well, we had that picture of the bobcat and beyond us, that me. He's a chuggy one too, he was well-fed bobcat in the middle of winter.
I wasn't feeding
You don't even know that.
it. I don't feed bobcats.
It's not a deer, so.
All right, so we have, you know, that's, again, about $500 is gonna be the cost, what we think would be for two game cameras.
Do we want to do like not to exceed?
Right, that's what I would expect.
Yeah.
Like $550, something like that, would be not to exceed, that should get you 4 large SD cards and 2 cameras.
Now
So,
should we have the town buy it? Should I buy it and get reimbursed? What?
I think we need, didn't we already vote to buy these?
No, I was just looking.
Well, we
back
did,
and
We,
like,
we did, but it was like 2 years.
2
ago.
years
Oh.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they were very different
Oh,
times.
yeah.
I guess, do you know where you'd go, Matt, to buy it?
Probably, is that Cabela's or wherever that?
I mean, I think if you show Paul what you're gonna buy and the cost, he can help you out with getting a check cut for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, that's all he needs, is to come in and say, one, know that we voted on it, and then two, know that, you know, he'll know where he's taking the money from, but exactly what he's purchasing, the exact amount and stuff.
Right. Yeah, in the past when we've done this, and I know you've bought some stuff, probably a number of us have bought it, and you know, I'll buy something, I'll give Gage the receipt, Gage will give it to Paul, a couple months will go by, and then I'll get a check at home, and it's like, there's got to be a better way.
Well, you could also have the purchasing agent actually do the purchase, specify, give them the requirements and.
And if we
Yeah.
know where the part number and what we want and where the price is from.
That's kind of where that's the road that I was going down, talking to the officer that, you know, I got to the officer that bought the cameras, and, you know, I think they just have card
Hmm.
that they use.
Yep.
So, because he's a town employee, you know, it's different. We're volunteers, but yeah, that's why it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I would say you get the specs and feed them to Xenia and say, here, this is where we voted on the purchase. Can you purchase these? And let us know when they arrive.
Okay.
That's what I would do. Or ask Sharon to
Yep.
make it happen. Okay.
So make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion from Fund 53 to have a member of the town purchase 2 game cameras and 4 SD cards, not to exceed $550.
Second.
You have a requirement for the memory on the SD cards?
That'll be given to purchasing requirement. We can get that.
Yeah, I don't know how many
Okay.
megabytes or
All right, did you second it?
I second.
gigabytes,
Gigabytes.
terabytes. I don't know what they are anymore. I don't even have a computer.
All right, so motion by Matt, second by Gina. Any other comments and questions? Good. All right, all those in favor? Passes 7-0-0. Okay. Oh yeah, the Home Depot letter. Home Depot. So we approved $600 to buy the bridge and decking material, repair material for Horse Hill. Between the time that we made that vote and the time that they actually went and purchased it, the sale had expired and the price raised $14.75. So Xenia at the time, or purchasing at the time, said, okay, they put a hold on the order until they could talk to us, and I just said, no, I'm not gonna wait. And that was my email to tell you all that I went ahead and said, yes, go ahead and order it so we can get the stuff here, get it ordered, get it on site, and if it doesn't pass tonight, that I will pay the difference. So they went ahead and placed the order. It was $14.75 over what we voted for, so we have to vote whether we want to expend another $14.75 on this order that we've already purchased.
I'd like to make a motion to spend the $14 and however many cents over the
75?
75 cents.
75 cents over the Home Depot purchase
Second.
By Gina.
Fun.
from Fund 53.
Yes, it's coming from Fund 53 because it's already, that's where the first project.
I'm a little conflicted on this.
No more 4-3 votes.
We wanted to see Gage fork up $14.75.
Yeah.
It's
So-
like a collection gauge.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor? 7-0-0, great, thank you.
It's things like this that make volunteers not want to volunteer.
No. All right, it's done. Horse Hill Nature Preserve, beaver activity. As I said, if you guys didn't get a chance to read it or look at it closely, there's Matt Tarr from New Hampshire Cooperative Extension. Actually, we probably should call his right name is Dr. Matt Tarr, so this is not like some.
He did a very nice job on that.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is a big deal. He loves this kind of stuff, so this is perfect.
In that last paragraph is very polite.
Yeah. I met with him last week and just walked the property real quick. I gave him some background as to what had happened. We had an official complaint from one of the subcommittees, and that I wanted him to go out there and take a look at this and just give me his, what do you have? What do you think? And then we went like this. What are your concerns? It's like, well, they've obviously been here before, we could see the old stumps, I said, it seems like this year, all of a sudden, they really aggressively cut. What's changed? And I was purposely being very vague with them and not trying to, say this is what we think or what I just, we just want your opinion as to what's going on. And that's what this is, you all have a copy, so,
Did we send a copy to Don Validity?
I got that today.
Okay.
So I sent it to community development, all of us. I'm of the oath that I think it should be available to whoever. And I'd almost like to just post it on our website.
Yeah.
Because we have a section for beaver activity anyways, that's,
Don specifically requested that someone go, so.
Yep.
Yeah, should.
yeah, so I mean, I can forward this to Don, I don't think there's any reason, I'm not concerned about forwarding it to him, but Matt made it very clear, he said if anyone has any questions, have them feel free to call me. I'm like, okay. You asked for it. But he's a big boy and he can certainly field whatever questions, so.
Yeah, definitely big boy.
Yeah, he's a big boy, all right. And so, I don't know, I think if you have a chance to read it, or not, if you want to look at the pictures, I have a copy of it.
Because I haven't gone
Yeah,
through it
yeah,
yet.
certainly look at pictures and.
Did he come to a conclusion, Gage, that you're comfortable talking about?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's an area that they purposely try to stay relatively close to the den. That area right there is very close to the den, the lodge. And there's not a lot of small shrub anymore. They've eaten it all. So now they're taking down the bigger trees so they can get to the small woody branches at the top. And they peel the bark off and that cambium layer, they eat that bark and they bring it down at the hut, at the entrance of the hut. And then they chew all the little branches at the end. So.
I think you even pointed out it was cyclical, kind of.
Yes.
Now that the big trees are gone,
Yeah.
they'll be replaced by smaller trees, and
Yeah.
the process will repeat itself.
And there's an interesting comment there that, towns that are purposely trying to create habitat for beaver will do what they've done. They'll take small clearings, they'll make small clearings to get small shrubby underbrush to grow. And that'll help keep the beavers there because it keeps a food supply. So they're doing exactly what, if we wanted the beavers to stay there and wanted them to be, in that location, we would be paying someone to do what they're doing now. So it's kind of a,
Because now there'll be sun, and the sun will cause the seeds to grow, and little stuff will come up as long as we as trailblazers don't go off trail and destroy the plants that are going to get created.
yeah.
So, I mean, we almost want to put up fencing or signs that say "Stay on trail,"
Yeah.
Or move some of
forest
those.
forest regeneration in progress.
Yeah. His one comment, and because right now the trail's there's still tape across it. There's one tree hung up right now, and it's seemingly hung up pretty solid. I mean, we went out there after the windstorm, and it's still up there, and it's caught up in the crook of another tree. And I have not, but I'm going to send another letter to DPW asking if they have a way to go out and cut that one tree down, because it's definitely if somehow it stood back up and fell the other way, it would come across the trail. But so I'm not worried about it falling on the trail, but it's a large tree that's hung up and we know about it. So I'm going to still ask DPW if they could get it down. Actually, Matt did have a picture of it in there. Yeah.
Page 2.
Yeah. So that you can see
Oh,
that
yeah.
tree is hung up in this tree. And
They've
it's
got the equipment, they can drop that.
yeah, but the thing is that you cut it, it's not going to drop.
You'd have to almost get on the end of it and pull it.
You're almost going to have to pull it back. So
Gotcha.
I don't know. They could cut it and then just try to keep cutting
Yeah,
sections of it,
okay.
try to drop it in place. But it's certainly not something I'm going to ask anyone to try to go do on their own. So
Done the wrong way, it's a widowmaker.
yeah. So I guess that to me, I'm wondering if we need to bother keeping that trail closed. I mean, there's some orange tape across the front of it now, but there's obviously people been going by it.
You can see evidence of,
Yeah, there's people walking past it, so. I mean,
and there's no danger to the trail from that tree going backwards.
I doubt it's going backwards. I mean, if it survived that windstorm we had the other day, and it's still up. And
Yeah.
it's still cut up, that tree. I mean, it was,
It's windy.
because the day we were out there, it was blowing. And you could see it leaning way over with it, but it didn't fall, so.
It's hung up in 2 or 3 different trees, isn't it? That's the one I
Yeah,
saw.
it's really, well, if you could get it to fall, I bet it would hit something else, yes.
Mhm.
But right now, I think it's really only hung up in that one tree it's on. But its crown would definitely catch into something else, I think, on the way down, if it came all the way down, yeah. So, I don't know if do we wanna bother keeping that trail closed? We're just gonna let it be open now, or do you wanna?
Sounds like you feel pretty good about it, I see.
Yeah, I'm not particularly concerned about it, but.
I haven't seen it, but it sounds like it could open it.
It's been hung up there for months now, going back to at least early December. So,
Yeah.
I see no reason to keep the
Yeah.
trail closed.
I can let Cindy know to let the sick committee, they can go back and peel the tape off and.
should take a vote, since you voted
Okay,
to close
we
it.
voted
you
to
should
close
take-
it, it's true.
Should take a vote to undo the close.
Right. I guess I make a motion to open the loop trail between posts 3 and 4. Yeah. And
Second.
Horsel Mesh is it? Can I make a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Yeah, I guess, why not, yeah,
Yeah.
Chairman. Any other comments, questions? All right, seeing none. You vote? Vote.
Aye.
Aye. All right, 7-0. I'll let Cindy know. Okay. Subcommittee updates. We didn't really have any since the last meeting.
Well,
Cindy's-
Set Falls did not have our Moonlight Snowshoe Walk because of lack of snow, and I don't think we would have it this in March either. I don't think we're gonna have enough snow in March either, so we'll
Okay.
revisit it next year.
It's due to be pretty cold here the next, rest of the
Yeah,
week.
but we're probably gonna just get ice and slush.
When's the full moon?
It's not for a while.
It's after your next meeting, after this next meeting.
Oh, so it's the 17th, 18th, that bit.
I mean, we'll look at it, and if need be, then I will contact Chief Roy and,
We are in a waning crescent right now.
nice.
So the new moon, totally out, new moon is in 2 days. Next full moon is 21st. Okay.
Okay.
So no moonlight walk this year?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay. Okay. While you're talking, you want to tell us about the Winter Carnival?
Yeah, well, Matt can tell us too,
Okay.
because Matt was there for the first hour. Matt was doing the heavy lifting for us, because I don't know all of the answers to the hard questions. I'm really good at saying, see the little ducky? See, if you give it a hug like that, it makes a noise. So what I did learn was that there are an awful lot of kids there, and they do like interactive things. So next year, I think that I will look into more interactive things for the kids.
Okay.
But Matt got some good questions and had some good answers.
Yeah, we really did. We had a great location.
Mm.
So we were like right on a corner. So a lot of people just kind of ended up there and talking with us, and we had some neighbors of our properties.
Where were you physically in the building?
when you go from the first room,
Yeah,
hot dog sales room,
yeah.
into the
Into the
big
back.
room,
Yeah.
we were right there. So
Oh.
as you're walking down the hallway, you were looking at our table.
Is that for your son?
Yeah, 'cause that's where we are all the time.
Yeah, usually we're like second or third
Yeah, cool.
down. We were the first one.
Good.
So we put the beaver picture right there, so they were looking at it, and then we had maps going around the front of the table, so people would come over and ask questions. And we had a neighbor of Wildcat Falls, asking questions about
Subdivision.
subdivision going in at the end, like off of Courier. Somebody sold a home and subdivided before they sold it, and now they're probably gonna split it, put a couple homes in there. So they were
End of Courier?
could not Courier. So
Just beyond it.
yeah, so if you
The
go
one's got
all
the
the way
big-
to the end, where the parking lot is,
Yeah.
and then you looped around
Okay,
that road, whatever that road is,
right.
right off of that road.
Yeah, the end of First Street. So you go down Curry at the bottom of the hill, it's First Street, and then it's Hemlock. At the end of First Street, the Patterson family owned a house and then a whole bunch of land going out towards the turnpike. Probably 20-something acres or something like that, a lot of
Really?
wetland. But, yeah, and then it runs up the back side of the neighborhood, up between, heading towards the, what used to be the junkyard. So, so it's parallel to the state-owned property. I mean, I could show you probably on one of these maps. but,
No, I just didn't realize there was that much land back there.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent slug of land.
Hmm.
Yeah.
This gentleman was concerned because a surveyor was on his property line. I'm sure they were just like triangulating to
Right,
get,
trying to find the property lines, yeah.
But he thought that, he was asking, was it possible that we were selling some of our property for development? And we said,
No.
that's not something you'd have to worry about. And he said, oh,
We haven't hard up for money yet.
that was what I was really worried about. And I said, no, you don't have to worry about that. It was for this subdivision over here. And he also had some questions about dumping his grass clippings on our property and things like that. And we educated, and he said, I'm gonna pass along this knowledge to my neighbors, who may or may not do this on a weekly basis. So it was just a great,
Yeah.
education type thing. He had some questions about the closing the park at dusk, and if he could go walk in there at dusk, he said, is the parking lot closed or are the trails closed? And
What'd you tell him?
I said, that's a very good distinction. I said, we're having a snowshoe walk, and trails are going to be open for the snowshoe walk. I said, the parking lot is closed.
Yeah.
But
We also did go in front of town council though, to tell them that, so it's a little. I guess do we consider, well, I guess that's a good question. We closed the parking lot, do we really,
The properties are closed.
properties are closed, yeah.
It's owned by
no,
Parsippany.
currently only
Parcel's
Parks and
closed.
Rec properties are closed.
No, chapter 111, 5 parcels are closed between dawn and dusk.
Oh, Wildcat
Including
Falls is one of
Wildcat
those
Falls, yeah.
parcels.
And that's how it's always been interpreted, so when you move people out of those areas, I don't see the police going into the woods looking for people, but if they
Yeah.
see a car there, and someone's in it, they
Right,
move them
they
out.
move along, yeah. But if a local resident walked in, I don't think they're even gonna know. Unless they're out there doing something.
Right. If you're out there doing something, lighting off fireworks or having a bonfire or,
Yeah.
So what 5 parcels where the parcel is closed?
I have to look it up, but it's Wildcat Falls, the 80 acres of Wildcat Falls, Riverside Park, which is off of Amherst Road, okay? Mitchell, one of the 2 parcels that make up Mitchell Woods. Yeah, the other 2, I'd have to look it up. I mean, I can while you talk about things, but.
I'm curious because I was always under the impression that I knew.
I thought Horse Hill was really the only thing that we leave open, right? That's really the only thing.
No,
And
Greater
Greater
Woods is
Woods.
open.
Greater Woods is open too.
Greater Woods-
Yeah, well, that's, yeah, but the.
Gilmore Hill Memorial.
Forward.
Oh, no, that might be on chapter one
Yeah,
eleven.
that's chapter 1.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
chapter
that's,
111.
so that's the fourth one.
Gilmore Hill.
Gilmore Hill.
Where is it?
Off of Green
No,
Pond
so
Road.
it's named after two families, the Gilmore family and the Hill family. It's not a hill.
Oh, okay.
It's across, it's right behind MVD and that medical facility.
Yep, yep,
You
yep.
know,
Okay,
so,
all right.
yeah.
I
There's a,
don't know
there's
the
a,
name of
there's a
it.
plaque, there's a little plaque in the wall, in the rock, right?
Yeah.
On Greens Pond Road.
It's on Greens Pond Road.
Yeah.
Isn't that near our friends that like us so much?
Oh, I hiked that trail, yeah.
So right now, a lot of it's underwater because the beavers have dammed up the stream that's called Natticook Brook.
Yeah.
They've dammed it up so much now that most of our property's underwater, so.
Yeah, the
The
road
beavers
is
again.
underwater.
Yeah. And we let it happen. Darn us.
It's gonna be the Gilmore Hill Pond,
It is. Yeah.
Memorial Pond.
Yeah, and then some days the beavers will move on, the water will subside, and we'll have some great shrubbery growing in there and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. Because of all that silt coming out of Greens Pond, will have filled Green Pond.
Green
will have-
Pond, I was gonna say.
Green Pond. I gotta
Greens
say-
Pond Road, Green Pond.
Green Pond is the name of the pond, yes, I gotta say it right. So, but, yeah, so just good old nature doing its thing.
It'd be an interesting thing we should, think about as part of our outreach, just some of these successional forests and sites that we're seeing. You know, we've got the Beaver Meadow. It used to be called Beaver Pond, now called Beaver Meadow, behind the middle school,
Mhm.
because that dam let go on that Mother's Day in 2013. The Mother's Day flood, that dam let go. That's the one that washed out Babusick Lake Road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's, there's gonna be the activity back there now. You're starting to see a lot of shrubby growth around the edges. That's gonna be back. Gilmore Hill and then North Hill. Be interesting to probably let people know that. Kind of interesting, because even then, on the way to Horse Hill, dip in the road right there on Amherst Street. You seen the big dam that's in there?
Oh, yeah?
It's huge.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they're here. They're everywhere. All right.
So to finish up the Winter Carnival, we had an Eagle Scout, or a Life Scout, that is looking for an Eagle project, reach out, and he's also sent us an email.
Yep.
So I'm gonna
You're
work
in.
with him.
Matt's gonna,
Yeah.
you're gonna take care of that one, okay.
Yes, one of the town councilors had given him a project, and he met with Eileen, and that project wasn't going to work out. So he's going to come and talk to me, and I'm gonna present him some projects. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
Now I'm gonna stay out of this one. Just clarifying.
Okay. I thought you were doing a good job with that.
Hey, and this particular one though, I think is more in Matt's,
More suited-
in
more
Matt's
suited for me.
wheelhouse here,
Okay.
yeah. This is Matt's wheelhouse.
All right.
Yeah, I'll take the rest of them, but this one is,
Okay. Glad to hear about this.
Yeah, this is something.
Yeah. All right, no more stuff, and that's it. So, the winter ecology walk, that's supposed to be this coming weekend, so,
Supposed to be, or is?
yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
coming weekend,
9
I mean,
o'clock?
yeah,
9 to 11:30.
9 to 11:30, and we're meeting up at the back of the upper lot of middle school.
That's good.
Can't wait.
So,
It's gonna be a good one.
yeah, Matt Conspiracy is gonna put another blast out with the, you said it's on the,
Okay, so Matt and I and Nat all got tagged in a Steve Larson post on the Positive Facebook page. And Nat explained very patiently that we want our events to go on one source. Because with all of the different social media out there,
right,
if we put it on Facebook, then why aren't we putting it on Instagram? Why aren't we putting it on Twitter? So we are choosing, and I'm saying this for the people at home, we are choosing to put it on the town website.
okay.
That's where people will find things. So for Steve to continue to tag Matt and I is kind of a, we've explained this to him before, so. And for the people at home, because somebody commented on this post and said, gee, it's like the Merrimack Conservation Commission doesn't want anyone to come. So I'm not exactly sure if I should go on this post and explain.
No,
That's what, I'm just, as Matt
because,
said,
because
just
whatever,
untie yourself.
whatever you say, now someone's gonna find something else to bitch about, so don't.
When I see that he's tagged me in anything, I just remove myself.
Yeah, I'm close to blocking
That
him, I'm
easy.
just to the point where it's like, I don't wanna.
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly what you said. You could put it on 1,001, and then the person who's got the 1,000 first is gonna be like, you didn't do mine. Yeah,
Right.
fine.
So
Go.
it
Go away.
is on our website,
Yeah.
and if people would like to look at our website, they will see it.
Yeah.
So,
And our website has a URL. If they want to link to it, they can get all the events that we put up on there. So
yeah.
that's fine.
Okay, so, thank you, I just needed to get that up.
Glad you feel better.
I do.
As I say, Matt Cafarius is gonna
You didn't mention
send another blast out for us too. So we'll at least have, I don't know, hopefully it's gonna be more than just us. The subcommittees, obviously, if you get it out to the subcommittees, let them know, and we'll go from there, see if they can get.
Are we in spike weather out there?
Probably.
Do we have spikes? Okay.
Yeah, probably.
It's gonna get really cold the next few days, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's enough so that even tonight, just walking out of the house, that top layer of snow is getting pretty
I see.
terra firma.
I've never spent so much time in micro spikes as I have this winter.
Okay. The minutes.
I make a motion to approve the Merrimack Conservation Commission minutes, meeting minutes of February 11, 2019, with changes as follows. I only found one change. It was on page 5, line 9, GZA, GO, shouldn't it be
I need a
environmental?
second.
Can we get a second first?
Second, oh
Sorry.
my God.
I'm not in a hurry to move on.
All right, I'm sorry, Gina, what page is that on?
That's on page 5, line 9.
Line 9. Oh boy, only 5 pages of notes, that's amazing.
know.
It was a short meeting.
What was?
GZA environment, Geo environmental, it's just GZA environmental, isn't it?
Yeah, you just want me to put an N in between the E and the V. It's the only thing I found.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't have anything, so. That's it, that's the only correction? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
You can,
It wasn't here.
yeah, you can still vote. You can abstain
I
if you
did
like.
watch it online. It was fascinating.
All right, 601 with Michael abstaining. Oh, great, another comedian, just what we need. Okay, no public comment. Commissioner comments. Anything?
Thanks for welcoming me in.
No?
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for volunteering.
Thanks to the rookie.
We are nice to the rookies. Ask Steve, Steve will tell you. Are we nice to the rookies?
Yes, incredibly.
They were nice to me.
How green are you still?
4 months.
Okay.
I was the newest one for what, 2 years? 2.5 years. A long time.
Well, you can't tell now.
Okay, my comment, I'm hungry.
We can tell you.
I know, my stomach's going nuts.
Okay. Mike Flannery?
Yeah, I have a couple. Couple on Greater Woods. I'm not sure if it was shooting again on Sunday. I investigated once. I didn't find out where it was. It looked like it might have been coming from the land that was cleared, which is not in Greater Woods, but private property. But I don't know that. But they're shooting again Sunday. About a half hour. It's definitely shooting. And there's a tree down, I think, on Drilled Rock, medium-sized tree.
Okay.
I saw it like about a while ago, and my neighbor said, hey, there's a tree down there. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. So I thought I'd mention that. And then
chainsaw worthy?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, if I remember right. Yeah. And just an update on Scalar property. I did contact Anheuser-Busch, and they were interested. And I mentioned the April timeframe for
Mhm.
cleanup, and during the week, which they prefer. And he was more interested in doing it in the warmer weather, and I explained to him, why we prefer before leaf out and all that, but we're open to doing it whenever. And so, there's no, just in the process of that right now, and no definitive thing yet. And if you could get the fidelity.
Yes, I will.
That's all.
Pete?
Not a lot, we're just, as the council's going through their budget process and everything, we've cemented all the warrant articles and now it's going to deliberative session, so really nothing to affect the commission here. But I am on Parks and Rec, and I know that, I don't know if everybody has it here, but they're doing the annual Earth Day cleanup throughout town on April 20th, Saturday, April 20th. So I know, my wife and I did that last year. We picked out our road, we picked out Pearson Road and walked that, and Watson Park, and collected quite a bit of trash. And they have a lot of people involved in that, so. But that's always a good event.
Is that a Saturday, Pete? Do you know?
That's a Saturday,
Yes?
yep.
Oh, good.
And we all met at town hall. Matt provided us with supplies. I mean, we did, I was surprised, for as long as Watson Park's been around, I mean, we were pulling tires and everything out of there. So, but a lot of trash was picked up, so.
Good.
Does the town organize it? Do they, if you
Yeah,
show up,
yeah,
they'll tell
yeah.
you where you need to
Yeah,
go?
Parks and Rec, Matt Asparagus sets that
What
up.
do you do with the trash? I mean, is it gotta come back to a
We
company?
bagged it, we leave it, they have bags, we put, we went along Pearson and collected like 10 bags of trash. And we set it up at the corner, and I told Matt where they were. You'll see.
Yeah.
And
all right.
DPW goes
Goes
around
by,
and grabs
okay.
them all.
Great.
So.
Cool. Steve, you got anything?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Just a couple things. If you go down the highway now, you can see the solar panels are going up on
Yep.
Fidelity property. So, pretty easy to see.
It's a lot. There's a
Yeah.
lot. It's bigger. It's
Yeah,
a
that
lot.
project.
Yeah, so the other thing is I think my email account is now working again. So,
Good. So stop using your alter ego.
so I think someone hacked into a town server because none of my computers themselves, I believe, sent the emails. So basically my email.
Is this the townie, your townie?
Yeah, my
email?
town email account. Someone was using it to send out all kinds of interesting emails.
Oh, gosh.
Really?
Yeah. So
Cool.
if you were lonely, you could be satisfied.
How did you figure
If you're
that
alone, you
out?
can call Tim.
Tim, how did you figure that out?
Someone called him.
No, I last Saturday logged into my town email probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 o'clock or something, and noticed a whole bunch of rejected email messages.
Oh, okay.
And then I started poking at it, and then I says, oh, someone's hacked my account. And so I reported it to Chuck Miller using a different email account and said, I think someone's hacked my account. Please change my password.
Okay, because I got a couple of things back that were rejected.
Yeah.
Should I be concerned? Everything that I sent out today
No,
was
I
fine.
mean, I literally had megabytes of rejects. I mean,
Okay,
we're
no, I
talking
had-
hundreds
I
of
had two
thousands
things.
of them.
Okay.
Like 130,000 emails or
Oh
something.
my gosh.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's pretty massive. I tried to clean it, some of it myself, and gave up. So,
Wow.
but yeah, and then
Yeah,
I
you
got a whole
can't-
bunch of emails from people who were offended by the emails that came from my account. And then I got a few of them that wanted to get to know me better. So, but you know, what's interesting is that day before I had scanned all my computers. I updated all my virus stuff, which I do very regularly anyways, and I scanned my computers, and my computers showed no evidence of malware. I also look for rootkits. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. I'm a software engineer. I understand these kinds of things and take care of all my computers.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe they did not get to my email account through my own computer.
Yeah.
But I think I had a weak password on my account, and I figured it out. Well, we fixed that. It's no longer a weak password. So So we'll see, Chuck is still cleaning stuff up, but, so.
I'm gonna miss those mails.
So, I don't,
Wait,
so
what?
I don't think they actually sent it to anything on my contact list. They had their own list of people they wanted to get to, and they just fired off emails.
Wow.
And the rejects started coming in about 3 o'clock in the morning on, on, Friday night or whatever it was, so.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Saturday morning, whatever you wanna call it, so.
You're not leaving us, are you?
Hmm?
Yeah, you said I'm gonna miss those emails, you're not leaving us, are you?
Oh, no, I was,
He was joking.
yeah, I was being
So,
facetious.
yeah.
Good, okay. You can't joke with me like that.
But would you miss me?
Yes.
Thank you, Judy.
I would. I
Um,
love you here.
I don't have anything, so.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion by Matt, second by Steve at, what's it, it's 8 o'clock, 7:56.
Are we gonna vote?
Yeah, so all those in favor? 7-0. Motion by Matt,